back in July of this year, and it says how trans men expose female privilege. Now, I don't know who this Anna Akana is, but she's got almost 3 million subscribers, so I guess she's pretty well known. Um, so yeah,
So there's
let's
this viral
oh, hold on. Let me actually move this over to here so I can take a look at it. All right.
tweet going around.
All right. So, yeah, how trans men expose female privilege. This will be interesting to hear. Let's see if the volume's good for you guys.
So there's this viral tweet going around from a Tumblr account from a person named Zan, who is a trans man, detailing the culture shock he's experienced post-transition. It was really eye-opening and interesting to hear that he has been perfectly positioned to gain insight into unique gender dynamics and social conditioning. So I'm just going to straight up read most of Zan's post to
Okay. First of all, just because you take some testosterone and you say that you're a man now, I don't think gives you proper perspective or proper positioning of perspective. Is that what you just said?
positioned to gain insight into unique gender dynamics and social conditioning. So I'm just going to straight up read most of
Okay.
Zan's post to you because I thought it was incredibly perceptive and I want to amplify it, but I don't want to risk messing up his words or his message. So here we go. I'm pretty quiet about the fact that I'm a trans man, but holy
Okay. I don't know why they had to dress this chick up as a dude with a mustache, but you know, some men don't have mustaches, some men don't really have beards, but yeah, that's a little tip.
shit. I need to tell you about the culture shock I'm going through because it's blindsiding me. There is this huge sense of social isolation that comes with being perceived as male because now people are subconsciously treating me as a potential predator. All strangers, no matter their gender, keep their guard up around me.
I mean, yeah, welcome to being a man. People all the time look at you a certain way, regardless if you've done something or not. Um, you know, you could think of, I don't know, what, male babysitters. If I was hiring a babysitter for me and my daughter and a dude walked in, probably wouldn't hire him. Same with my wife. My wife probably wouldn't hire him. Uh, elementary school, daycare providers. There's a lot of aspects where if a man is present, automatically he's kind of pushed away to the side. I could be walking down the street, you know, um, stay behind a woman, and I feel like she's probably a little bit nervous that there's a guy behind her, so I walk faster so I can pass her, right? Um, so yeah, it's interesting that she's just starting to realize that, or he, I guess, is starting to realize that.
It made me realize that there is no inherent camaraderie in male socialization like there is in female socialization, unless, of course, it's in very specific environments. And the fact that I don't ambiently experience this mutual kinship in basic exchanges anymore is an insanely lonely feeling. You know how bad this would have fucked up my mind if I had grown up like this? It is 4:30 a.m. and I'm mourning the loss of a privilege I didn't know I had. Frankly, this is something I would have never understood without living the
So she's saying that having relationships with people is a privilege that females have and males don't have. I mean, males have plenty camaraderie and bonding, especially with other males. Like all the time you ever listen to females talking, it's always about how catty they are, about how fake they are. This girl, she's just talking or being nice to this girl, but really she hates this girl. Think of all those shows that are on, like, uh, what is it, like the Women of Beverly Hills, or the wives of this place and this place. All those ladies are two-faced and condescending and hate each other and are just like trying to stab each other in the back. You don't see any shows like that of men, like, you know, the dudes of LA or whatever, and they're all just be like acting like women do. So I don't know. this is a weird trying to comparing this or like saying that this is like bringing it to light. That's
Experience. It is now blatantly clear to me that most cis men probably experience chronic emotional malnutrition. They're deprived of social connection just enough for it to seriously fuck with their psyches, but not
what?
enough for them to realize that it's happening and what's causing it. It's like they're starving, but they
Okay, I know this chick is quoting whatever this Zan person wrote, so I'm not gonna like target anything I'm saying towards her, but she did kind of say at the beginning she's trying to amplify what this person has said, so maybe she has some thinks of some validity, but we're not starving. Like just because a man isn't reaching out to another man for like a hug or a a shoulder to cry on or something like that doesn't mean we're starving for connection. Like I mean, don't get me wrong. I hug my friends from time to time. Like I'll give them a big hug if I haven't seen them for a while, and I'll be like, "Hey, man, I missed you." Da da da. Or if we're at an event and we're saying "see you later," and I know it's probably gonna be a while, give them a hug. Most of the time, though, you see a guy, give him a little handshake or a pearl of props or pull him in close, and just because we're all not like lovey-dovey hugging each other and just like I don't know that I wouldn't say that we're starving. That's not a thing. You're looking at it through the eyes of a woman who has now become a man, and yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. Like you can't be uh what's the word I'm trying to look for? You can't be uh, it'll come to me. It'll come to me.
don't know this because they've always been served 3 meals, except those meals have never been big enough. This deprivation comes from all sides of the aisle, by the way. In the case of women, when I'm out in public and interact with them, all of them come off as incredibly aloof, cold, and mirthless. I have never experienced this before, even though I know exactly what this composure is, the armor that keeps away creepy ass men. As someone who used to wear this myself, I know that this armor is 100% impersonal. Nobody likes wearing it. And I can say with absolute certainty that women would dump the armor in favor of unconditional companionship with men if doing this didn't run the risk of actual assault. Trust me when I say that women aren't just being
Okay. I get what she's saying that the women, tend to feel a little bit more worried or scared, but not all men, regardless if you have this armor or not, instantly lead to assault on you. Like, we're not all secretly just waiting for you to drop your guard or drop your armor and then, knock you out or sexually assault you or do something like that to you. Like, that's crazy that this person, or sorry, not her, the Zan person is writing something like that. Because, yes, most people are, a little bit more guarded to say it's just a woman and a man. She's obviously going to be have a little bit more care in regards to his presence. But, there was times like, I did massage for a long time. Say a woman had never had a massage from a man, had never met me before. I walk in because I'm her therapist. I'm going to pick her up. Right away, she goes, "No, I don't feel comfortable with a man. I'd like a female therapist." Granted, that's a little bit of a different situation because obviously you're kind of more exposed, vulnerable. You're very much down to your underwear basically. But there had been also men who would be the same thing, be like, I don't want a dude, I want a woman. And then at the end of, or some of the women who, or some of the husbands who would be like, I don't want a man, I want a woman, they would trade with the wife. And then I would get the wife who originally had the female therapist, and they'd have an amazing massage after that. Like, you can't just judge a book by its cover. Again, just because I'm a man doesn't mean I'm gonna assault you. Doesn't mean I'm there to rape you. Doesn't mean I'm there to, sexually assault you or whatever the hell you think I'm gonna do. I can just be present. I'm just existing. But just because of my existence, I'm obviously right away a red flag. That's kind of fucked up.
needlessly guarded. But I only have complete understanding of this context because I've experienced female socialization. If I hadn't, I would have thought this coldness was a conspiracy against me devised by roughly half the human population. Even now, with all I know about navigating the world as a woman, I am
Even just this like characterization of or overacting of like what men do, kind of ridiculous. Like we're not all there bumping chests together and just like pinballing people like,
failing to convince
and maybe it's just for the video's sake, whatever the case may be. I just think it's poor representation, you know?
my monkey brain that this armor is not social rejection. And as for male socialization, again, it seems taboo for a man to be platonically intimate with men for reasons I have yet to fully understand. But I think it boils down to A, the fact that society teaches boys that it's not okay to be soft with each other, and B, garden variety homophobia. Our media only shows men being intimate with one another.
Okay, there garden variety homophobia. That's a big blanket statement to say. Just because again, we're not hugging and holding hands and singing Kumbaya, we automatically are homophobic. And I don't think we're taught by society not to be safe or soft, I should say. But, you know, again, this is a woman who's grown up as a woman and now has decided to become a man later on in life. Again, I say that, you know, become a man. But that experience or lived experience, as they like to say, is a lot different than being a young man or young boy growing up into manhood. Like, it's not apples to apples at all. She has no uh understanding or grasp of what it is to be a young man or young boy growing up into becoming a man. She's only seeing it through the eyes of a female who's then transitioning into a man. So there's nothing about being soft. As a men, we're taught when we're younger, probably going to be the provider, you're probably going to be a protector, you're probably going to be the breadwinner. Like these are just things that we're taught. Nowhere did it ever say like, you know, you can't be soft. I know plenty of men who cry. I know plenty of men who are very caring and emotional and, you know, have great love for their kids, or their wives, or even us friends. Like, you know, if something happens to a buddy of yours, you reach out to them and you tell them, you know, you're there for them or they need anything. Uh, yeah, I think this is just a huge generalization of nonsense garbage. Like, what?
When they're teamed up against a dire situation. And I'd bet real money it's a huge ass reason why men gravitate towards activities that simulate being teamed up against an opposing force. But men are not machines of war. Yeah, testosterone absolutely gives you dumb bastard brain, but that just makes you want to like skateboard a wagon down a hill or duct tape your friend to the wall, not kill someone.
You don't know that. Testosterone is a huge part of your inner beast and how men are and how they express themselves. There was a there actually was a I think it was a trans man as well. She was going from female to male who had said that as soon as they started getting onto testosterone, they started to understand how testosterone can affect men in like how aggressive they are and how like especially when you have like sexual desire and that's the testosterone that's doing that. So yeah, you have that animosity, you feel that like that, not necessarily rage or anger, but like yeah, we play physical contact sports because we like to exert that energy. You know, we wrestle, we do dumb shit like she says, like jump off of this, crash into the each other, you know. But testosterone is definitely a key role in that. So yeah, it doesn't lead to right away killing somebody. Is that what she was saying, or Zan was saying?
But that just makes you want to like skateboard a wagon down a hill or duct tape your friend to the wall, not kill someone. The human species looks so much colder standing from this side. I can see how men might convince
Human species feel so much colder feeling from the.
themselves that their feelings of emotional desperation is personal weakness, as opposed to a symptom they're experiencing from white imperialism.
What?
Because the human
What? What? What?
condition
What?
is
What
as
was
essential
that?
for imperialism. Their feelings of emotional desperation is personal weakness, as opposed to a symptom they're experiencing from white imperialism. Because the human condition
Oh my god. So now it's white people, white men, white that are making men. What? There are men all over the world, whether they're Asian or African or Mexican or European or whatever, that aren't like this. They're not all lovey-dovey, hug each other. It's not because of white imperialism. This Zan person is far from understanding what it is to be a man.
is as essential for our well being as water is. So sick. How sick. I want to destroy this garbage. End quote. And wow, right? Just wow. I have been in a place where I'm really trying to unpack a lot of things that have been taught to me that don't serve me, and that may be pretty outdated. Like, Pluto isn't a planet anymore. Neanderthal is pronounced Neanderthal. So maybe
Those are things that do serve you. It's good to know those things. They taught you them for a reason.
the foundational knowledge I have about more important things like gender dynamics, maybe the things that were taught to me when I was tiny, impressionable clay just aren't valid anymore. And look,
No, they are valid. Men are men, women are women. We are two separate things. Yes, there's a lot of crossover. We are a human race. We need each other to survive, but we have different needs and wants and responsibilities in society and within our sex and our gender. Like, it's plain and simple. Men are not equal as women. Like, men and women are not the same. They are different. It's been like that for fucking thousands of years.
even saying like female privilege makes me want to recoil, but I like that I'm really aware of how much I am rejecting that phrase and idea. Because when I listen to the words of Zan, who has crossed the gender divide, I agree. Like having
No.
close, intimate, high quality friendships is an absolute privilege. And I can see now how my gender sets me up in Western society to have that. I'm a baby queer, and I think we're learning all the time. Hopefully, we're learning all the time.
What what the fuck did she just say? I'm a what?
An absolute privilege. And I can see now how my gender sets me up in Western
What is it? What,
society to have that. I'm a baby queer, and I think we're learning all the
I'm a baby queer. What the fuck is a baby queer? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What the fuck is a baby queer? You know what? I'll look it up after. I don't want maybe I shouldn't look it up. Maybe Google's gonna
time.
populate this with
Hopefully, we're
something
learning all the
else.
time. How to unpack the biases and falsehoods that we've been given by a generation that was even more susceptible to social messaging than we are because we have the internet. It takes work for us to look at why we think what we think, and more importantly, how do we dismantle it? And I can't count the amount of time.
There's no reason to dismantle it. You just need to change a few things. Yes, the view of men and women in the 1950s were a lot different than they are today. That doesn't mean you have to completely scrap all that. A lot of women to these days still prefer traditional men. They still prefer men who make them walk on the inside of the sidewalk. They still prefer men that hold a door. They still prefer men that will pay for a dinner or whatever. Like, and these are all things that were taught back in the day. You're a man's man, you got to treat a woman a certain way. But so we don't need to dismantle anything. Yes, you shouldn't be rude to women, you shouldn't be, but that's not just women, it's rude to people in general. Like there's certain things that you just need to change, not completely remove. Like this person's deluded.
I've made like stupid jokes about how men are trash. And so some of the work I've been doing specifically
Women say that all the time. That's probably not a joke that you say. That's probably just how you feel. Especially if you're baby queer, whatever the fuck that means.
around gender is to just intentionally and actively look at why do I think that? And what is the male experience, whether it's cis or not, and how am I contributing to the toxic masculinity in that space? How am I making it unsafe?
Okay, it's not toxic masculinity. That's just being a man. It's just the way it is. That's yes, it's unfair, but we don't sit here and moan and groan about it. That's just how it is. We understand that. We're in a different position. we're viewed differently, and whether it's just or unjust, fair, not fair, it is what it is. We understand the rules that we unfortunately, or the hands that were unfortunately dealt. But that's not toxic masculinity.
For men to express themselves emotionally. And what am I taking for granted as someone who is female identifying and assigned at birth?
Oh my god, female identifying sign at birth. This lady's Looney Tunes. Um, Men are very emotional. Men show emotion all the time. Just because we're not crying and hugging each other all the time doesn't mean we don't show emotion or we don't have any.
And all of this means like really taking accountability for the ways in which we move through the world consciously and unconsciously. And that is exactly what I loved about Zan's post. Like, yes, okay, women are overwhelmingly the majority of victims when it comes to sexual assault and murder. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But outside
Murder? Definitely not. I would say you are wrong on that stat. Men are the ones that get killed far, far, far more than women. Sexual assault? Maybe I'll give that one to you, but murder? Hell no.
side of that really extreme violence, in what ways can I, as an individual, take care of other human beings, regardless of how they identify? And in what ways can we work together to dismantle old systems that are leaving half of the population incredibly lonely, emotionally starving, and malnutritioned socially? Because I can't imagine a life without my friends and without a support system. The idea that 50% of the people I know have to have that life, that is incredibly sad. So I hope Zan's words and unique perspective also reach you and help you look at the
It's not unique at all. It's a perspective of a woman pretending to be a man. It's not a unique perspective. It's just somebody who's thinking that they have the perspective of a man simply because they identify or have started taking testosterone, whatever the case may be. Um, we have very much, what was she saying? We don't have like,
that are leaving half of the population incredibly lonely, emotionally starving, and malnutritioned socially. Because I can't imagine a life without my friends and without a support system.
there are plenty of men who have lots of support systems, regardless if it's one friend, regardless if it's 20. Yes, there's some guys who are a little bit more on the loner aspect who don't have any friends. Those are usually guys who, do something horrific or, you worry about them. But not all men are just like sitting at home in their basements alone forever. Like they have friends. Oh, anyways,
The idea
I think the rest of this
that
video was
50% of the to create a better world for everyone. I'm Anna Akana. Thank you to the patrons who support.
okay. Yeah. Uh, Sorry everyone that you had to watch that as much as I did. Um, I mean, let me know in the comments below how you feel about this. This is fucking bananas that this video came out. I just stumbled upon it. Um, yeah, July 7th it said it was out, released. Hasn't had a crazy amount of views. I mean, over a quarter million is pretty good. I'm curious as to what the dislikes are for this, seeing as we can't see those anymore. But anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone who left some comments on the last video. Hit the subscribe button if you want to keep watching these reactions and commentaries and insights. I definitely want to hear what you have to say on this topic. Um, and yeah, till next time, take it easy, guys.